What was the first thing you did after you were assigned the case?
Well, we have to do a case opening form.
So you got assigned the case June 17th, and you basically did your paperwork. Is that a fair statement?
That's a fair statement.
The 18th of June, your log indicates that you spoke with Dr. Welker.
Yes.
What conversation, if any, did you have?
Basically, I was looking for information. I was looking for the CUME file. I was looking for attendance records, information that would help me look into see, validate anything in this complaint.
Okay. And what, if anything, did you share with Mr. Welker?
Basically, that we were looking at the attendance of at Crop Senior High School.
Did you tell him why?
That there was an investigation, ongoing investigation regarding her attendance, and that was all I recall telling him.
You indicated in your log that it says, will deliver 619 to IG office. What was Dr. Welker delivering on the next day?
Well, I was looking for the CUME file, cumulative file for the student, and I was also looking for attendance records that they had.
And did he in fact deliver those things the next day?
The CUME file.
The CUME file? What about the attendance records?
It took him a while to copy those.
So the next day, on the 19th of June, you received from Dr. Welker his CUME file,
Yes.
correct? Now, was this delivery of the CUME file pursuant to any subpoena?
No.
Was this pursuant to any search warrant?
No.
It was just a friendly phone call, hey, can you bring down the CUME file, and he complied the next day?
We went over there, and we actually went to see where Crop was, and went to the high school.
Oh, so when you say you spoke with him in person?
I spoke with him in person and on the phone.
But you actually went to Crop Senior High School?
Yes.
And you were physically in the presence of the CUME file at Crop Senior High School?
No, was not.
Why?
That was delivered later. We're just asking.
So why did you not pick it up the day you were there?
Didn't require him to. He said he would get the information and deliver it, and we were okay with that.
Now, did you actually receive the original CUME file or a copy?
Original.
So you received the original CUME file from Mr. Welker, from Dr. Welker.
That's correct.
On June 19th, he wasn't compelled to give it to you pursuant to any order of any court.
That's correct.
And he wasn't compelled to give it to you pursuant to any warrant.
That's correct.
And he wasn't compelled to give it to you pursuant to any subpoena.
Correct.
And he wasn't compelled to give it to you pursuant to authorization from the child's parents.
Correct.
And you did not have a written authorization from the child's parents to obtain that CUME file.
That's correct.
Now, when he delivered this CUME file to you, did it have a log sheet that has to be signed when somebody checks out a CUME file?
Not with CUME file.
And so you didn't sign anything when you received the CUME file, correct?
No.
And he didn't require you to sign anything when he delivered it to you, correct?
No, he did not.
Did you give him a receipt for it?
No, I did not.
And once you received this CUME file, where did you physically place it?
In a drawer in my desk in the office.
And is that a locked drawer?
No, it's not locked.
And it's accessible to anybody in your office?
Yes. Okay.
When you went over to Crop, who went with you?
Tanya Jackson, special agent.
Did Ms. Jackson speak to anybody while she was there?
We were together.
At all times?
At all times.
And when you spoke to Dr. Welker, what did, if anything, did Dr. Welker tell you? Or what questions did he answer for you?
I think, basically, if I recall correctly, we were just there. Again, I wanted a copy of the file, attendance records, asking that, and that we would be there interviewing a number of teachers as well.
And you told him
the registrar, yes.
Did you tell him what teachers?
I came up with a list. As I said, I was kind of giving him a warning. He's the principal, and I was, we're going to be in your area, we're going to do the investigation, and we're going to be speaking with teachers. At a point, I gave him the names of teachers, and we set up a point.
How did you determine what teachers to give him? The name, what names?
From documentation on attendance.
Okay, now I'm a little bit confused, Mr. Ivy. You
Okay.
told me you didn't get the attendance records till much later. So
Right,
how-
well, I didn't talk to the teachers much later, and I didn't give him those names. We just said that we'd be there having to speak to these people. So
So-
at some later date, I gave those to him.
Okay, so when you went there on the 18th to ask for the CUME file, you didn't give him any names then?
I don't recall giving him names then.
When you were at CROP with Ms. Jackson, did you speak to anybody else at CROP?
About the case, I think our first initial visit was with Dr. Welker.
Now, when you spoke to Dr. Welker on the 18th and the 19th, other than providing you the CUME file, did he give you any information regarding or?
No.
At some point in your investigation, did Dr. Welker become a subject?
Not a subject, no. He was a witness, if you want to use that term.
At that point, he was a witness.
Yes.
At some point, did his status change in your eyes from somebody that was simply a witness to somebody that participated?
Yes.
When did that take place?
I don't know the exact date. It was during the investigation that we felt that school board rules were violated. And as a secondary item completing the report, if those names are mentioned, I think that's where you're going with that.
Okay, so now you have his CUME file.
Okay.
You put it in your drawer, in your office. When's the next time that you have any contact with that file?
Well, don't recall the exact times, but I made 2 copies, a working copy and a clean copy of the CUME file. Put it in the drawer, and then in August I returned it back to school operations.
To whom did you return it?
Maria Hernandez.
Did Ms. Hernandez sign any document acknowledging receipt of this CUME file?
She had me sign a document.
Now, Ms. Hernandez doesn't work for CROP, right?
That's correct.
And Ms. Hernandez is not a person that had anything to do with Mrs. Education, correct?
That's correct.
And so far as you know, Ms. Hernandez didn't turn over to you any authorization from parents for that CUME file,
No,
correct?
she did not.
And you didn't turn it over to her pursuant to any court order?
No, I did not.
And you didn't turn it over to her pursuant to any subpoena?
I did not.
And you didn't turn it over to her pursuant to any warrant?
That's correct.
Do you know what happened to that file after you turned it over to Ms. Hernandez?
I believe that, to the best of my knowledge, she kept it in her office.
Now, when you had that CUME file, the original CUME file, did you at any time make an index of the contents of it?
As far as an inventory,
Right.
no, not a specific inventory, no.
Okay. At any time, did you provide, other than to myself today, did you provide a copy of either the clean or the working copy of this CUME file to anyone?
Initially, as I was going over the forms, not in totality, but piecemeal, I was discussing with other district personnel, and that was Dr. Clifford.
Now, at any time when you shared contents of this CUME file, whether in its totality or piecemeal, with any other person, did you ever have authorization from parents for that release of information?
No.
Mr. Ivy, have you ever reviewed the regulations that surround children's CUME files?
I am going by what we are authorized to handle those CUME files. District personnel, officials in the school board are authorized to see and view these files. And if you'd see that, I believe, I'm pretty certain I have a copy of the log, the sign-out log of the CUME file, which I didn't use, but was there to see who had signed out the log.
Now, you told me you shared piecemeal the contents of the CUME file, and you mentioned Dr. Clifford.
Right.
Who else did you share the CUME file with?
Initially, Yolanda Scalar, and later with the State Attorney's Office.
Ms. Lopez, are you also the custodian of the students' CUME files?
That's correct.
Explain to me how it is that the CUME files are maintained at the school.
Different schools do it different. But Michael Crop, we have all the files in my office. I have a sign-out log that is a teacher or counselor or anybody who would like to see a CUME, they supposed to sign the CUME's log out, bring the CUME back the same day.
Here's my question. Is there a sheet that's attached to each CUME that says who checked out that CUME?
No.
The CUME sign out log requires the information to contain who took the CUME out, correct?
That's correct.
And the date that it was taken out,
Yes.
and the date that it was returned.
Yes.
Okay. Is there an entry in that log for CUME?
It's one, just her name, but it doesn't have a date, or an ID number, or date that it was signed in, or date that it was signed out.
Ms. Lopez?
Yes.
Every other entry in that exhibit shows who took the CUME out.
Yes.
The only one that doesn't show who took the CUME out is entry, correct?
That's correct.
And you don't know when the file was returned, if ever.
That's correct.
Was there a point in time when someone else came to pick up CUME file?
No, from my knowledge, the only time they pick up the CUME was from the district, and that was in the summer, I believe, of 2009. That Dr. Tosaro, I believe,
Was there a sign-out sheet for that?
we don't, when that happened, we don't do it in this log because they take the entire CUME out of the school, and we have another form that they signed and where the CUME went to.
And do you have that form?
Yes, we have a copy of that.
You have a copy of that?
Yes, we have it in
Has
my
anybody
office.
asked you for that form?
I believe the attorney have a copy. I'm
Which
not sure. In the day that, when we went to do the disposition, the first time, they asked me that
After
question.
Mr. Ivy first contacted you at your school, did he instruct you to deliver any documents to him?
Me personally?
Yes.
No.
Did you ever deliver personally any documents to Mr. Ivy?
No.
To
I
Mr.
have
Ivy?
no recollection of delivering documents to Mr. Ivy.
Did you deliver them to the IG's office?
I don't recall making any deliveries to the IG office.
Did you make any deliveries regarding this case?
Not that I can remember.
So any records that Mr. Ivy has relating to Michael M. Crop Senior High School were not obtained from you?
Not personally.
Now, when you say not personally, did you instruct anyone at your school to deliver these documents to Mr. Ivy?
I don't recall that. I don't recall making any deliveries or instructing anyone to make deliveries to Mr. Ivy. I have no personal knowledge that I delivered any documents to Mr. Ivy.
Sir, are you aware that at some point CUME files belonging to were removed from your school? How was the CUME file removed from the school?
It was picked up.
By whom?
Dr. Tosado.
Did Dr. Tosado speak to you?
He did not.
Did Mr. Tosado sign the log indicating that the CUME file was being removed from your school?
He did sign a form indicating that it was being removed.
And before it left your school, did anybody make any kind of index or catalog of the contents of the file?
Not to my knowledge.
Do you recall what date the file was picked up?
No, I do not.
Sure. If there's a notation in some documents that you delivered the CUME file, that would be incorrect. You did not deliver the cume file to anyone, right?